and foremost. I know it sounds like it could be complicated, but it's actually very simple. It's free. You want to do that with all 3 credit bureaus. And we're talking about 2.7 billion records that were accessed. It could very well have affected you. Chances are, yes, your social security number, your past addresses, your current addresses are probably already out there available on the dark web. But what you want to do is do that freezing at Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Do the credit security freeze as soon as you can.
Okay, I'm just writing this down because I need to make sure that I do this. So is this something that everybody should do regardless of whether you think you may have been part of this hack? Would you know if your information was part of this hack?
Yeah, National Public
Okay, guys.
They will inform those who've been affected, but that can take a long time, and so you just want to take precautions.
Yeah. So guys, it's August the 16th, 2024. August 16th, 2024, 8/16/2024. And I need you guys to know that I'm not just declaring that I have, hold on. I am not just declaring that I have $10 million, essentially $10 million. Not just rounded up, but damn near $10 million, even more so than rounded up. $10 million, literally. Once again, I have 10 million United States dollars literally in my ScotiaBank account. That's protected by the Central Intelligence Agency, not usable by any employee of the Central Intelligence Agency except me, if I'm considered employed by the Central Intelligence Agency or just its managing auditor, however you define it, or however you decide to define it moving forward. Whoever is responsible at this particular moment for assessing whether or not I should speak with them on how to manage my $10 million. But this is what I want you guys to understand. I have 10 million United States dollars in my ScotiaBank account, and Truist, Bank of America, and Key Bank have signed on to acknowledge this $10 million, and these are firmly American banks, and to acknowledge that my account here in the United States with ScotiaBank, registered here in the United States of America specifically, is authentic. It reflects and it demonstrates that I do have 10 million United States dollars, nominal dollars, real dollars, not cryptocurrency, real money in my ScotiaBank account, 10 million United States dollars, $10 million American dollars. Okay? So I want you guys to understand that. And I'm speaking of myself, Shawn Dexter John, born of the Caribbean community, specifically born in the Commonwealth of Dominica in 1985, but clearly an American citizen, not only via documentation and official status, but also culturally speaking, socially speaking, politically speaking, economically speaking. And, that's the reality. Okay? So what I've revealed in other video recordings regarding, divinity and anything else, that's also true, but I'm speaking on this particular matter. Okay? I have explained that I'm not only politically astute when it comes to legalism and constitutional law, but I'm also astute when it comes to music, production. When it comes to music production, when it comes to popular music here in the United States, I had contracts with a few music labels, Universal, Warner Music, and some of the other companies out there, the major companies, and I did accrue millions of dollars, for the hard work that I've done, and I saved it the whole time. Over the past 15 years, that's all I did. Actually proceeding that over the past 25 years, that's all I did regarding that particular money. I saved it within trust-like funds or mutual funds for the most part. For the most part, I say that because, in Canada, the terms are slightly different at times, but essentially it's based on the same principles. Okay? So my bank is not in the Caribbean. My bank account is not, or the money itself is not in Great Britain or in anywhere else in Europe. It's not in the Caribbean, and it's certainly not blocked in any account or vault in Canada. I can easily walk into the ScotiaBank centers and institutions here in the United States and be able to withdraw my money, and it's only withdrawable and usable by me. And I promise you, the mutual fund sort of counseling I've received. It's mutual fund related counseling I've received, whether or not you guys consider anything having to do with my particular account that's having to do with mutual funds or mutual fund account or such, did provide that I can allow American banks to be able to serve serve my management competency of my particular account. Hold on. There are cars driving by. So I just want you guys to understand that. That's why I pause at times. There are cars, vehicles driving by, automobiles driving by. So I promise you. And but it's straight now. It's always been straight. For the most part. I'm not joking around. I'm always direct and straight in explaining what I'm explaining to you guys in these video recordings. I don't want you guys thinking anything crazy. Don't misinterpret anything I say. I'm not speaking in codes at all. All right. So there were automobiles driving by, and sometimes when it's too much, I pause. I tell you guys, hold on. I'm going to finish the monologue. But anyway, I honestly do have over 3,000 kids. Biological children. I really do. I honestly have conceived via regular sexual intercourse with adult women, and have been happy about the birth, stretching all the way back to my junior senior year in high school to this day, of my 3,000 and more, biological children. I'm not lying about that at all. I've always had a procreation program. I've been tested as having the highest IQ in the Central Intelligence Agency and INTERPOL system. Once again, ever since I was about, I guess even at a very young age, I was tested, and my IQ was shocking. And when I was tested at 16 years old and 18 years old and so forth, it was clear as day that I had and I still do have, and haven't been tested since then, the highest IQ in the Central Intelligence Agency and Interpol, speaking of both agencies directly and their system, or their partnership system, or their separate systems. But that's the truth. I'm not going to brag about that, but I do have a lot of kids out there, and it's to enroll them into the Central Intelligence Agency as being genius-like at least, or brilliant, toward diplomatic competency, toward diplomatic competency. All right? I'm not a pervert. I'm not a rapist. I am not a person who's signing contract with women toward any sort of ill conduct or ill reputation or anything of that nature that has to do with unethical values or immorality. All right, guys? I want you guys to understand that also. So I'm not just declaring that I have $10 million, United States dollars, in my ScotiaBank account. I'm also confirming that I do. I'm also verifying that I honestly do have 10 million United States dollars in my ScotiaBank account, which, once again, I'm going to explain this to you guys. I'm going to explain this to you guys. The 10 million United States dollars that I do have in my ScotiaBank account, no matter what restructuring goes on, it's still going to be at 10 million United States dollars by the time I re-access it within, when I have complete access to it, but I haven't actually gone into one of the banks or online banking to take anything out. And I've been saving it for the most part, obviously. But no restructuring which is going to occur between, from now or later on, will actually negate the reality of this money. And if it was to be transferred to an American bank or American originated bank, it wouldn't deplete it. The fees wouldn't be noticeable. There would be no secret fees. There would be no sort of counter action. There would be no sort of federal review or audit that would halt my immediate access to it or my immediate use of it. And there's just no point in assessing this situation at all. But anyway, so no restructuring will have ScotiaBank no longer acknowledge the reality of this account. Okay, and ScotiaBank will be able to maintain complete coverage over this bank account without depleting it, without withdrawing anything from it, no matter what happens, restructuring or me transferring the funds into an American originated, bank. I want you guys to know that, and I say this in confidence, and yeah, the security clearance that I do need to be able to access my account is a full belief that some of these people have. Obviously, there's no security clearance requirement toward gaining your rightful account or your account just in general. Obviously, all lawful accounts have to be rightful. All lawful accounts are rightful. If you get around the law, does not mean that it's lawful. I haven't gotten around the law. It's lawful, and it's always been lawful. Why do I have to stress this over and over and over again to my dad, who keeps walking in saying that these white agents, they believe that they managed me and they need to get $100,000 because they are Americans and they're the only ones who can certify that? No. My account has always been lawful. It's always going to be considered a lawful account. You guys are not going to be able to argue around anything. And you guys are not going to say I don't have American or Canadian security clearance to be able to acknowledge that I've worked with the Central Intelligence Agency and that I have retroactive and current earnings from this. And if there is additional money, placed into this particular account just to defraud the identification of this particular account, that's not on me, and that's not going to penalize my account or me. I'm warning you guys are not going to be able to keep up with what is right. Eventually it catches up to you, and I'm not going to be defrauded or impoverished until you guys catch up. Do you guys understand? Or until it catches up to you guys. That's what I actually meant by that. I'm not going to be listen again. I'm not going to be defrauded or impoverished or held back or obstructed until you guys' legal trouble, or legal troubles catch up with you guys. I want you guys to throw that plan that some of you guys have articulated to some of the informants out. I've sent informants out there, and informants have not produced my beats. Informants have not perfected my beats. Stop. I need you guys to stop right away. All right? And Melvin Ote, this is what I want you to say. And Melvin Ote, I want you to understand this. Melvin Ote, once again, I want you to understand this. You are going to stop saying to my quote-unquote baby mamas, you're going to stop saying to the mothers of my children to stop bothering this fool, let this nigga go on with his life and this and this and this and that. No, you're not going to say this anymore, Melvin. You're going to hush and you go on with your life. I have a lot of work to do. One man can change the world, and I always do. And I need you to accept that, Melvin Ote.
So they can earn a little more commission. So they've taken that off. I think it's one thing the real estate industry has to do.
So Melvin Ote, I need you to know that I am not joking around. This is the same me. This is not a different Shawn, Dexter, John. This is the same me. I don't care what you say. You did not see anything different on my facial features back in Washington, D.C. And listen, I did test you guys to see if you guys were misinterpreting what I was saying within some of my monologues. I did have to test you guys. I said, well, would they believe something that crazy? Why would you believe that I was hanging out with Brandon to sell drugs or or for any other purpose, why would you believe that? You know, why would I be that busy in the studio and as a student at the same time making that much money and saving all of that money toward selling drugs? Why would I sell drugs for anything crazy like that? So I've said things in my monologues just to test you guys' response, to see whether or not you guys misinterpreted what I was saying, or you guys were searching for code talk, or you guys were searching for a subconscious sort of a revelations. I was trying to figure it out. No, man, I was never a drug dealer. I was never a drug trafficker. I was never a drug manager or drug manufacturing manager of legal or of lawful or unlawful drugs, legal or illegal drugs, illicit or illicit drugs. I was never part of any of that, in all honesty. I smoked hemp a few times, maybe too many times, but I am certainly not a dope head. I am not a drug dealer. I'm not a drug user. I've drank alcohol a few times, legal at a lawful age, a few times. I'm not a big alcohol drinker, in all honesty. All right? I want you to know that. There's no reason for you guys to exaggerate what you guys remember about me at Howard University when I audited UDC Law, or when I audited St. Thomas University Law. Even though I was a real law student at St. Thomas University Law, in all honesty, I did take enough courses to be able to transfer toward my degree. You know, when I did the audit of Columbia University Law School, that does not, even though I was working most of the time, every time you guys saw me at that particular campus, I was running back to the studio to be able to finish my assignments of producing this beat and this and leaving it behind and going right back to college at Howard University, taking the bus or whatever I needed to take to get back to Washington, D.C. It never meant that I did not take law school seriously. It does not mean that my audit of medical universities in the past, which was not, detrimental to me physically speaking. No one harmed me because I was doing so. Does not mean that I did not take my focus seriously. Okay, guys, I want you guys to understand that I'm not a bad person. I'm not trying to hurt you guys' feelings, but I don't want anything getting in the way of me getting to the next point of being happy about the global distribution of my two books now published with Lulu.com. And speaking of Americana, the New Societies, Concepts and Political Apperceptions of an Eastern Caribbean Model of Commonality, and Americana, the Constitutional Rights of Man and Woman, the Rights of Womanism, the Rights of Minority, and the Abolition of Gangster Hip-Hop as a precursor to minority progress. You know, I'm excited about that, even more so than the top charting music production I've done. I've literally dominated music production in the United States, specifically, primarily regarding hip-hop and popular music, pop music, under aliases. And I've contracted with producers to purport themselves as the real producers and under security clearance and so forth. You know, I've allowed them to engineer some of my beats to the point where they can say that they contributed it. Okay, once again, I'm going to have to say it perfectly. I did, and this is the truth, I did allow some of the producers, the purported producers, and they did grow up being producers, hobby-like, and sometimes eventually became professional. I did allow them to be engineers to a lot of my beats, to the point where they could consider themselves as having contributed to the perfect, collaboration between the singers, the artists, and the instrumental itself. But anyway, I have dominated the music industry here in the United States and recently in Canada also, when it comes to popular music, and at times in Great Britain, and at times here and there in the Caribbean. I've done a lot of work. I've worked very hard. But anyway, I'm going to marry, officially, I'm going to marry Patricia Roberts Fitzhugh. And she's a Haitian-born American lawyer. And she is certified that I am the producer who produced all of these music, all of the music. And I'm going to have to take Rashida Williams in. She has recently birthed another kid of mine. This is our third child together. I'm going to have to take it into our house in Coral Gables, and she's going to be with me. And and Patricia is going to have to, accommodate that sort of situation and so forth. And so the mothers of my kids, they're going to have houses all throughout Miami, and she's not going to have any visitors, no visitors, and no one is going to has paid anything for. No one will pay or has paid anything to Rashida Williams or for Rashida Williams other than myself, and that's the reality. And there's no second boyfriend, there's no hidden secret boyfriend or mate or boo or any of that. I'm serious. There ain't a lot of trouble, okay? I'm taking my original wife back, and I'm also taking my most recent agency wife back. And speaking of Rashida Williams, the latter. Okay, I'm very, very serious. I'm going to torture you guys to death. Not the women, obviously. Once again, I need you guys to understand this. The houses that I purchased for all of the mothers of my children who are going to enter into law school, listen. All of the houses that I've purchased in Miami and other parts of South Florida, and those are the only places. And that's the only particular location I've purchased houses, for these women with my kids to be able to train them into CIA agents and operatives and auditors as lawyers themselves. And these women are going to finish law school. Some are going to newly enter into law school. Some are going to finish law school. But the purchases are not attributed to any personal or private account of mine. It has to do with my management of the Central Intelligence Agency. I found the proper resources to be able to purchase these houses for these beautiful angels of mine. All right? Whether they are flawed or not, everyone is flawed. I don't want you guys, overanalyzing what angel means. All right? But anyway. And so that's the situation, in all honesty, okay? So Melvin Ote, I don't have any kid with your wife or your ex-wife. I've done DNA testing of all of my kids, over 3,000 kids at this particular point, and I'm sure of it that your youngest son, that's not my kid. I'm sure of it, Melvin, and I need you to accept that. But anyway. You guys are cool. But anyway, so that's what I want you guys to understand. Okay, I'm not a bad guy at all. I just had to allow you guys to understand that. Okay.